When was the iPhone 4S released?
Allow me to direct you to Apple's rather fabulous website.
When was the iPhone 4S released?
The Apple iPhone 4S was released on October 13, 2011, making the phone 10 years old.
Wait, so I gotta go to my Amazon Echo to find out about an Apple product, but the Apple product can't tell me about an app. This is not starting off well. Back in 2011, apparently, and the iPhone 4S was released. And I did a video about this recently where I took the iPhone 4S and used it for a week. But the reason I selected the iPhone 4S is because it was when Siri was basically born. Like, we all learned about Siri, and you know, a lot of people used it once or twice, didn't like it, threw it away and thought, Siri sucks. Well, does Siri still suck? I mean, it's not looking good so far, but we're gonna find out right after this.
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name's Travis and I do tech videos every single week. And today we're going to talk about Siri and if Siri still sucks. And we're going to try some things. Let's see if Siri can figure this out. Let's get into the video. So it's human nature to try something once or twice, and if it doesn't meet your expectations, to kind of give up on it. And that's basically what has happened with Siri. So many people have thought about the first one or two times they dealt with Siri and didn't like what happened, that they just assume Siri always sucks. Now, a lot of time and money has been put into Siri since it was announced. It can do so many more things than it could before, but the question is, does it still suck? In other words, can you rely on Siri, or is Siri just about as bad as it ever was? So I thought I would do something interesting by going on the internet and finding things that Siri couldn't do years ago. In other words, give Apple a chance to fix things that have been widely known for many years. If I can Google what Siri can't answer, then someone at Apple can do the same thing. You would think that that would be one of the first things Apple would do, is to try to figure out what things that Siri can't answer and fix them, especially if you can Google them. So let's find out what happens when I try the same questions from years ago today on the updated Siri. Let's start with this one. Does my phone support Apple Pay? Now, this is an iPhone 13 Pro Max. The answer is yes, and it's a feature within an iPhone. Does Siri know about itself, or at least the iPhone that it's attached to? Let's find out. Does my phone support Apple Pay?
Interesting question.
That's the same answer that Siri gave like 5 years ago. What? Why can't you answer that? Why do you? Now, some might think, well, I guess it's because it doesn't know what hardware it's attached to necessarily, but what phones support Apple Pay? Let's take a look. So according to Apple, it's any phone with Face ID, and of course, any phone with Touch ID, except for the 5S for some reason. Don't know why that is. That's a lot of phones. So isn't there some way that Apple could know that you're installed on one of these newer phones and just say yes? Apparently they can't figure that out. Let's continue. Here's another question. Is my iPhone waterproof? So this should be a pretty easy question to answer. Am I waterproof or not? I mean, it's water resistant, right? It's IP68 or whatever. You should at least be able to say that. Let's find out. Is my phone waterproof?
Interesting question.
Of course, again, Siri doesn't know anything about the phone she's in. Let's say you want to know where to buy an iPhone. Can I buy an iPhone in Australia?
Allow me to direct you to Apple's rather fabulous website.
Okay, now you're just punting. Like, we can punt to anything. Just look at everything on the Apple website. Look at everything on the Apple site. And by the way, same answer she gave years ago. Maybe Apple thinks that's a good enough answer. Now, this thing couldn't answer this question before, although it might have been that they didn't set it up correctly, but let's find out. How old am I?
Looks like you're
Don't tell them that. You're trying to cancel me, Siri? Now, here's one that I know works on my Amazon Echo, and this should be interesting. This is another question that was asked years ago, and it couldn't answer. What was the #1 song in March of 1983?
Sorry, I'm unable to do that.
The #1 pop song on the Billboard chart in 1983 was Every Breath You Take by The Police.
I mean, Siri, Amazon Echo can do that. I don't want to say her name because then it triggers all your echoes and everyone gets mad at me in the comment section. So we're still batting almost not 1,000, like the opposite of 1,000. Is 0 the opposite of 1,000? I mean, Siri can still do some interesting things, but sometimes I think that she's not exactly as good as some of the other assistants. For example, what time does Target close?
Here's what I found.
Now, #1, it's showing me a picture. I don't necessarily want to see a picture. It gives me links to maps, but if I ask this same question to my Echo, it's going to automatically tell me the time of the closest Target to me. This one is just putting up a whole bunch of them, all in the same times, which is, I guess, better if you're driving, but this phone knows where I am. So it probably should tell me the closest one like my Amazon Echo does. Because again, my address is in my contact card. Send a tweet for me.
I found this on the web.
No, so it's not going to send a tweet for me. That might be because it can't access third-party apps. I thought it could access some third-party apps. If I can't send a tweet through Siri, what good is this thing? Let me try this again. Send a tweet for me.
Here's what I found.
Nope, not gonna work. Follow me on Twitter. How far is it from here to Los Angeles, California?
It looks like Los Angeles is about 1,131 miles away by car.
Okay, and the thing is, like, I would expect that to work. There's certain things that you kind of expect to work. How many ounces are in a pound?
It's 16 ounces.
So those things are like almost base level of what should work. It's interesting that some of the things that you want to have work that are beyond the obvious, beyond things you could find out just by Googling them, and things that should be more personal to you, you can't rely on Siri for. Now, you still can, of course, send text messages and phone calls and stuff. That's great. I mean, that all works. Again, kind of things you would expect to work. But some of the things that don't work on here are kind of surprising. And be unable to even know its own history or even what this device is kind of weird. And considering the questions that I've asked it today have been on the internet for over 5 years, and it doesn't look like Apple has any intention of changing the answers for them, I guess the answer to the question, does Siri still suck, is yes. Siri still sucks. But what do you think? Leave me a comment below, and I guess I'll see you next time. Peace and love. Siri, peace and love.
I couldn't find peace and love in your Apple Music library. You can ask for a radio station.